I've been coming to Colombia for about 12 years now, and it's been a delight to see the work of God for Reformation and a growing knowledge of the truth in the churches and the pastors here ever since I've been coming. But what is a delight to my heart is to see how the several groups in Colombia that have been working for the reformation of the church here have been able to more and more come together, to work together.
I'm Joel Bickey, and I'm from Puritan Reformed Seminary in Michigan. I've invested a good part of my life in training men for the ministry. I actually believe that seminary is the very backbone of the entire Christian enterprise around the world. Because if you don't train men well, generally you don't get good missionaries, you don't get good church planners, you don't get good pastors, you don't get good seminary teachers. So I find that there's nothing I can invest my time in better and more than training men for the ministry. So coming down here to Bogota, Colombia, to be involved in speaking at conferences where hundreds of ministers come together from a variety of backgrounds, and it's just great to see this movement growing. It's great to see the ripples of Reformation and revival spreading out further throughout Latin America. Great to see men coming here from Bolivia, Peru, Venezuela, and it's just a wonderful venue in which they can all come together. So I'm very grateful to the Latin America Reformed Seminary that is a kind of a catalyst for bringing everyone together. And I do pray that God will continue to bless this effort, and that we'll see even greater days of Reformation and revival ahead, and that the cause in Latin America for the Reformed faith would prosper and flourish. Pray with me to that end, that God will continue to do great things in Latin America.
It has been my great joy to be able to come down and serve other pastors in the church here in Colombia these past 12 years. It has been a wonderful thing to observe how the church has come together around the essentials of the Christian faith, how ministries have worked together to help train up ministers for the next generation of the Reformation that is going on here, not only in Colombia, but throughout Latin America. It's a blessing always being here to be with pastors from all over Latin America. To see what God is doing here in Latin America and through Colombia is breathtaking. It's beautiful to see how the Spirit is igniting little fires throughout Latin America. Fires of reformation and revival, fires of the gospel, and how people have become more and more united. An infrastructure of men, pastors and churches that God is raising up to serve Him and even to serve the church throughout the rest of Latin America. So it is a delight and a great honor, and quite frankly very humbling, to be able to be a part of all that God is doing here. So I am very grateful.
Hello, my name is Neil Hageman, and it's my privilege to be here at the conference 2017. We're celebrating the 500 years since Martin Luther was used by God in order to protest against the indulgences, the doctrine of indulgences, that you can buy your salvation, and that salvation is by works. And that was 500 years ago. It's been a joy to be able to work in Colombia. And throughout the years, I've worked with Noe Acosta, Gospel Through Colombia. And it's a wonder to see how on the backs of the churches and the missionaries that have worked for many years, that there is a harvest here in Colombia.
My name is Joe Harrell, and I work with Mission to the World, a Presbyterian church in America. Here in Colombia for the last 10 years, I've had the privilege to work with the Presbyterian Reformed Church of Colombia to help train pastors and also other leaders for the churches. One of the ways that the Latin American Reformed Conference helps us in our ministry is to remind us that we are not alone. First of all, God is here at work in Colombia and through Colombia for His glory. We're convinced that these conferences help to encourage us to look beyond Latin America. That as God is raising up His church here, we are to be a blessing to the nations. And so these conferences are wonderful for fellowship, for edification, and encourage very tired sometimes and discouraged leaders that God is at work in and through us for His glory.
Hi, my name is Terry Alexander, and I'm from Florida in the United States. Until last night, Dr. Sam Waldron spoke again from Romans 4 and talking about the righteousness of Christ and the power in his message. Last night was so strong that my heart, as I looked around at all of those men and all of the pastors that had gathered together, the only thing I could think was every single man in this place should be sitting there going, that's exactly what I want to say, that's exactly what I want to take back to my church. That is the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and that is the thing that changes lives, and that is what needs to be gone throughout the nations. And so I'm grateful for the teaching that is being done here. I'm grateful that men are being trained in the presentation of the gospel and in the study of the pure scriptures, and I intend to support the seminary. And so I think it's wonderful what's being done here, and I pray that it grow and grow and grow.
Hello, my name is Jamie Pritchett. I'm with the Good News Coloring Book Ministry, and I decided to come to this conference because I'm interested in the work they're doing here in Colombia and the seminaries and the teaching of the pastors. And I've been to many, many conferences in the past few years, of pastors' conferences or missions conferences. And sometimes there's so much staging and lights and so much emphasis on other things that the Word of God gets lost. But I've just loved that this conference is God's Word is the most important thing, and God Himself the most important thing, and that's been the focus. So it's been a blessing for me and my friend and my daughter. We've just praising the Lord every night, thanking the Lord that we could come here and be a part of this.
Hello, my name is Eduardo Ferguson. I'm a former student of the SRL. It's my privilege to be sharing with you about the importance and the need that we have here in Colombia for training local pastors. It has been a huge work that these brothers are doing through these kind of conferences and through seminary. When I get to know about the Reformed faith, it was a huge privilege to have the opportunity to go and study and to prepare myself. Today we have pastor a church, and we have another church plant that we are working on it, and we see how Gospel Through Colombia has been a great blessing through our country. So we ask you to pray for this ministry and to support in any way you can all these wonderful things that God is doing among our country. So our praying is that more pastors and more churches get to know about the Reformed faith in our country and get to know the blessings about our faith in Christ.